Well, thanks for taking the time to do this. Let me just kick it off by asking you, everybody's kind of had their own unique experience with the pandemic, and just kind of, if you could just kind of go into like how it affected Brainstorm as far as like touring plans and the whole recording process.
Oh, it was just quite funny, because I can say that it sounds really bizarre, but in a way, the pandemic was some sort of a gift for us. Was As we were supposed to go to enter the studio in the spring of 2020, but then we were more or less we were ready to enter the studio, but then we received this phone call in the mid of March that we were not allowed to meet each other, to hug each other, whatever,
Right.
to not hang out with each other. So just because of the lockdown and everything else. So then we just rescheduled the whole thing up to the fall of October of 2020, and then I just asked myself if I'm ready, if I really do like all everything I recorded so far, so all the vocal lines, the lyrics, and everything else. And then I decided myself that we could, or especially me, but also we could do better. And that's the reason why I called the others and just asked them if it's possible to go back into the rehearsing room to work again on the songs, to probably rearrange some songs, some parts, to kick out some parts, to write new material, everything else. And this is what we actually did. So we used the time, went back into the practicing room, in our rehearsing room, and then we just worked really hard on the songs. And then when I got back home, I just deleted everything I recorded until then. My wife was totally upset. So do I really have to listen to all your vocal screamings and yellings for the next months again? And I said, nah, let's wait and see. And the funny thing is really that it with the new songs, with the new versions, it's not new songs, but with the new versions, to me it worked out way better, so it was kind of some sort of a better energy, a feeling. I don't know how to explain, but it turned out way better to me. And so it took me just a few days or weeks, so until everything was ready, everything was done, and then I was totally happy, so that was the funny thing, so. But then when we entered the studio in the fall, I just told Sabe, wow, man, this will be a totally different album than what we should have recorded in the spring. But I think the main goal was always not to record Midnight Goes Part 2. It was always very important to us to record an outstanding record and the next step, and everything else. So we used this time in a very good way. We had two members of the band, the drummer and Milan, the other guitarist, the second guitarist. They got sick because of the pandemic, but not in a bad way. It was okay so far, but yeah, but it affected us, of course. No festivals, even one, only one. That was in the Czech Republic, so 2 weeks ago. And since yesterday, we know that our tour had to be removed to 2022, which is sad but true. But we're not the only ones. We thought that maybe it can happen, but restrictions are very difficult to deal with. So it's very. You do not really know, because it can change from one city to the other, from one country to the other, and so you have to calculate a tour in these times is more or less impossible, because you have no idea. You can, from one day they say, okay, you're allowed to bring in 1,000 people, which means more or less the venue is sold out, and just on the next day when you stand with your tour bus, you're standing in front of this venue. They tell you, now today we have new rules, and today you are only allowed to bring in 100 people. So and this can happen, from one day to the other, and that makes it impossible to deal with it, to calculate with it. And on the other hand, if you have sold 1,000 tickets, you are only allowed to bring in 100. So what would you tell the other 900 people? So
Yeah.
that makes it more or less impossible. It's sad. It's very sad because I have everything's new. In my cellar, I have everything new microphone shit and stuff. So that's great. That's amazing. I waited for this for years. I just was so excited to have it all with in-ear, the new in-ear shit, everything. And but it's more or less brand new. Okay.
Yeah, and I imagine, like, even once you get out on the road, if things are going okay, if somebody gets sick in the band, then what do you do? Like, then that's maybe the whole rest of the tour canceled. And yeah,
exactly, that's it.
So you're saying that you kind of came up with a lot of new ideas when you went back into the studio. What do you have any specifics of, like, things that changed? Like, were there any, like, pretty radical changes to any of the specific songs, or?
Not really. Okay. I can't tell you because it's I don't know, it's my 23rd or 24th record. I don't know. I haven't counted them. It's the 13th record for Brainstorm. It's my 11th one with a band, with me in the band. And I always did the vocal lines. I always did the lyrics, and I always was responsible for the cover artwork and layout and everything else. But in the spring last year, I had some kind of a, what do you say? In Germany, we say blockade, like somebody who writes a book and he hasn't got any ideas anymore.
Oh, writer's block.
Yeah. A block, so writer's block, so, and I sat there, and I think I had the same feeling with the lyrics. The band always said, no, it's good, it's we're all totally fine with the stuff, but I wasn't really 100% sure, and at the end I have to decide when I do compare it to what I wrote first, and then what came out now. I might say that it would have been good, it would have been okay. And Torsten always says it would have been some sort of a Andy Franck standard, which I hope is good. But I think it wasn't good enough for the follow up for Midnight Ghost, So, and but it was a very, very strange feeling. I had the same feeling again weeks after. When I had to work on the cover, so and then I just I told Gyula, our cover artist here from Hungary, and I tried to explain him my ideas and everything else, and I painted everything a little bit childish, with everything. But anyhow, I tried my best, and I tried to explain him, but from day to day it got worse. To be very honest, everything he sent me, but he didn't do anything wrong. He did everything like I told him. It was always cool. So, but it was my ideas were just a disaster, to be very honest. And that's the reason why I just stepped back and said, Torsten, if you could do it, and if you have a good idea, please do it, because I have no idea what's going on in my head. So, but I've been told that this can happen. And we made it as a band. We made it. I think we made the best out of it. I'm totally happy with the artwork, with everything else, and I think it was amazing. But this can happen. So now I have hundreds of ideas in my head, to be very honest, which is totally bizarre, So which is like, okay, but now we do not have to release another album. We first have to release the Wall of Skulls, but okay.
Yeah, the album cover is something I was going to ask about because it's very different, and I just thought it looks amazing. Yeah, I mean, as far as the idea behind that, was it just kind of the album title that kind of inspired that, or like, was there anything that, do you know where that came from?
The original idea behind it was. Torsten told me that he would love to have an album titled which is really catchy, which is really it sounds more or less perfect for a heavy metal band, you know. So, and I just made up my mind. I had some other ideas, but they were quite okay, you know, but nothing special. But then I had this idea about it's kind of a how do you say? We call it metaphor. Is that? Do you have that word as well? It's like a symbolic thing, you know, for what's going on in your head, you know. So, and if you look down to the Middle East, for example, you have the Palestinians on one hand, and you have Israel on the other, and from one day to the other, always rockets are flying, you know, people are dying and everything else. And on both sides, you have parents, daughters, sons, brothers, and fathers, you know, they all have dead children or fathers or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And and they are full of hate, full of anger, you know, full of their minds full of they want revenge and everything else, you know. And that is something from day to day with also the social media stuff and everything else. There's so much hate in it everywhere. People are not talking. They're writing messages, you know. So, and it's quite easy to name somebody whatever, you know, and to call him a bastard or whatever, you know. So when you write a message and this message goes out on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, and that builds up a wall inside you. So, and that brings you, you know, and you with this wall, you know, so you are not able to talk to each other anymore. And but in the case of things like in the Middle East and stuff, you know, this wall is built out of skulls in my head, you know. So that's it, you know. So, and that, but the cover artwork was Torsten's idea how to express this, you know. So anyhow,
yeah, cool. It turned out really well. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about the productions. So you've worked with a lot of different producers over the years, and I think you did this on the last one, both with Sieb. Is that correct?
Yeah. Midnight Ghost as well.
What do you find different working with him compared to maybe some of the previous producers, and how do you guys work together, like in the studio?
I think all of them called themselves producers, but there were some, but there were some others not. But in the case of Sieb, I might say he is a producer. And the main difference is talking to some of the albums, you know, which we recorded, we sometimes had a producer sitting behind the mixing board, the mixing desk, saying, whatever I recorded, you know, he said, it's okay, sounds good. Yeah, that was okay. You want to try one more? Okay. But that's not how a producer should work. A producer should tell you, hey, you can do better. Go back again. He have to kick you. You have to kick you in your ass, you know. So he has to become something like a sixth member of the band, you know. And I think this is definitely the main difference what we have in between us and Sieb, you know. So Sieb always, whenever we enter the studio, he becomes the sixth member of the band, you know. He knows exactly the songs, you know. He listens to the pre-production, the songs we pre-produced weeks or months ago before. He knows all the songs exactly, you know. He knows exactly what's going on, and then in the studio he starts to work with you. It just, you know, for example, the beginning of Glory Disappears, this stupid first sentence, you know, he told me to sing it 1.5 hours again and again and again. For me, it's always sounded the same, you know, but at the end, he showed me exactly what is the main difference between the first versions and the last versions he recorded. And he said to me, okay, if it's not the right tone, you can, with modern computers and stuff, you can just fix it. You know, that's not a big deal. But it's the feeling.
Mhm.
You cannot let the computer do it, the feeling. That's not possible. Thank God it's not
Yeah.
possible. But that you have to work on it really hard. So, and that is what I call a producer. Then he tells you, oh, this part is not necessary. This part should you should play this part very much longer, or on a with higher notes, lower notes, or whatever. So he works with you, and that is the main difference, and that is what I call a producer, and that is just a friend. Okay. This can in the case of Seb, he's also a friend of us and mine, but he becomes something like a sixth member. He really works really hard on you, and he's really into the music and stuff, and that is more than you can have. That's amazing to me. That is just amazing.
The choruses are also very they're very big and full sounding. I'm kind of curious how you guys kind of put those together. Like, how many different people are involved? Is it just your vocals layered, or is it several people?
It's me.
It's all you?
Just me. Yeah,
wow.
It's all me. It's just me. It's just that is why I call him a producer. He just always told me, okay, we need a version here and a version there. Let's do the high notes here. Let's do the low notes there. And I was just like, oh God, I'm tired. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. What do you want from me? And he was like, no, we need more here. We need more there. It's still not thick enough. It's still thin. It doesn't sound like I wanted it to sound. And that is me, except for Turn Off the Light and I'm sorry, Turn Off the Light and Escape the Silence. Because in the last choruses, we do have, of course, featuring PV and Seb as well. But they do just the main vocal line done. But everything else with all the different tones and tunes and whatever, that's all me. I always want to have singers in the studio, but the band always says, no, Andy, you're way cheaper. You can do it. Do it yourself, and that's the cheapest way. It doesn't sound any different than at the end, so please do it. And that's always up to me. That means always one more day in the studio.
Right.
Sometimes 2 more days. But that's the funny thing they love it. When they hear it for the first time, the band absolutely loves it. They always say like, "Oh, this sounds so cool, so big, really, all your voices and stuff." And I said, "Yeah, thank you, but these are the voices you have to deal with when we're playing live. You have to sing them." And then you look at me like, "No." I said, "Of course, you want it? Please do it."
Yeah. That's funny. Talking about PV and Seb, I'm just kind of curious what your first, if you can remember back to like the first time you heard Rage and the first time you heard, or maybe you didn't hear Ordenogan before you met Seb, or I'm just kind of curious.
No, I know it.
Okay.
I know them since their album. What was it? I don't know the name, but it was the second album, I think.
Oh wow!
They're on the same label. And I know them for years. Of course, I do. And I know Rage, of course, since Don't Fear the Winter, one of the earliest releases ever. And since then I've been a fan. So it was to me some kind of a honor to have a PV being featured on the album. But it was funny because since years I always wanted to have a guest vocalist on the album. But the band sometimes they were not really happy with the decision, and then I decided, okay. But then I told Seb about this idea again, when we recorded this album now, and then he looked at me and he said, "Whom do you want to be featured on the album? Whom are we talking about?" And I said, I told we were talking about people from the US, from Great Britain, from Sweden, and from everywhere else. And he looked at me after a while and said, "Andy, that sounds a little bizarre because you're talking about people from England, America, and everywhere else, but you have an old German metal icon, more or less next to the studio, living next to the studio, and you know each other for years. You've been on tour together. You got drunk together. You had party together and stuff. So why not asking him? And I was really, okay, you think so? And he said, yeah, please do so. And then we called PV, and PV was just like, yeah, cool idea. Yeah, it would be awesome to be part of the album. Yes, just bring it over. I will do it. And then when we hung up, I looked at Seb and said, okay, so now we have an old German metal icon being featured on the album. What about a modern German metal icon? And he looked at me like, okay, so whom are you talking about? And I just answered like, come on, Seb, don't ask silly questions if you don't want to get silly answers, you know? So, and then he looked at me and said, no, you're kidding. And I said, no, you have to do it. So go in. And then I was able to kick his ass, which was amazing for me.
Nice.
But the cool thing is, to be very honest, both of them are really taking care about their voices, which means they are not singing on many other projects. They're not featured on many other projects. You know, they really do take care about what they do, what they record, and I think that makes it even more special to me, as this is a very special thing. You know, so I might say that. This is having Seb and PV on the album, you know, they're not featured on Avantasia or whatever, you know, and that is something that makes me really proud, to be very honest, you know, and I might say that Wall of Skulls would have been a very special album to me anyway, but I think those two guest appearances makes the album to me even more special. And that is, to me, this will always be the album with those two guests on the album, you know. So that's, to me, that made it just perfect.
Yeah, that's very cool. You guys were on Metal Blade for quite a while, and then you've been on AFM for even longer. I'm just kind of curious, going back, like what made you switch labels, and what is it about AFM that has kept you, you know, working with them over the years?
I might say that Metal Blade, in the case of Metal Blade, we had of course, in both cases, I might say that it's not the owner, but in the case of the guy who run Metal Blade back in the days, you know, so it was Michael Schenker in Germany. He was a big fan of BRAINSTORM just before I joined the band. And then they started searching for a singer, and then we knew each other very well, you know. So, and then he told me that I should meet them, and then we hung out together. We played songs together, and then I joined the band and so on. And then he said, "Okay, Andy, when you will join BRAINSTORM, then I will sign them. I make everything clear with Brian Slagle, and I will sign you guys." And that's what he did at the end. And more or less the same thing happened with Andy Allendorfer, the former owner. Both of them are dead, by the way, since years now. And Andy Allendorfer was a huge BRAINSTORM fan as well, you know. So, and he said, whenever your contract's over, please, before you sign a new one, call me, because we want you to be part of our label. And that's what we did. So I think in both cases, we can say that we knew that there are just people working at the label, not just because of the music, or not just because of they see that there is money you can make with the band, you know. So they were fans of the band, you know, and they still are, you know. So, and but I think why we switched over to AFM over the year after many years, I think it was just our idea when we thought we can make the next step, and that was our we thought so, and in some way it worked out. It was cool, so it was okay. It was for us as okay, and we just we are happy with the situation. Everything can be better everywhere, you know. So, but it's okay. We're all fine with it, totally. They take care of us. We're not just a number. We're
Mhm.
just a band. We're names. They know exactly when Andy's calling. They know
Mhm.
it's the guy from Brainstorm, and he's again pissed. That's what they told me once. That's what they told me once. Every time they see my number on the display, they say, "Oh, it's Andy again," and I guess he's pissed again. They said, "Oh, okay, does this mean my number is colored red, or what is it?" I said, "No, it's just no, but everything's fine. It's good."
Cool. I interviewed Torsten like way back around the time of Soul Temptation, and
Oh,
he was saying back then even like that they were really looking to like get a US tour going at some point, and we're really working hard on that. I was just kind of curious. I don't think you guys have actually ever toured over here. Is that something you'd
no.
still are looking to get together
Yeah,
at some point? I mean, once
yeah.
people can
Of
tour
course,
again.
this is something I'm dreaming about since I'm a kid.
Yeah.
To be very honest, this is something I told my parents when I was 16 years old, and I always told them that one day I will tour the US. So we made it to the US several times, but never on a real tour, which is a shame to me. So I think, we do receive so many emails from fans and friends from the US, and I might say that it is to me, it's not just a shame; it's just a disaster to me that we've never been on a real tour over there. Because, as I said, I think it's the country, it's the music market in the US that influenced us the most over the years. Everybody here in Europe says that Brainstorm sounds like an American metal band, so which is cool, in one way, in one way, of course. But on the other hand, that is something that should bring us over, So yeah, I have no idea why it never happened so far, and I hope that it will work out in the near future, and before we get too old.
You're never too old. The Rolling Stones are still touring.
You're never too old, yeah. No, but it's I think it's definitely one of our main goals, to come over. I hope this pandemic will end within the next months. To be very honest, we have to deal with it. We have to live with it, I guess, in one way, in some way. But we're still talking to to our booking agency that America is on our number one on our priority list, definitely. So it's and it's no bullshit, So it's whenever we have the chance to play the US, I am the first one who gets into a plane, steps onto a plane, So just when I just went to the US for the very first time, I had tears in my eyes when this guy from Cleveland just picked me up at the airport, and we drove down the highway, and I had this green traffic signs, over the highway, and I seen them because I knew them just from the TV series The Fall Guy. You know that one? And I always knew that from that one. When I was just 12, 13, 14 years old, I always watched that series, back with what was it? I don't know the actor anymore, but anyhow,
Lee Majors.
Lee Majors. There you go. And I watched that series always, and then in the opening scene, you always have those traffic signs. Okay, there was Los Angeles standing. Okay, there was something different, but anyway, it was green. It was over the highway, and it looked to me, and I knew now I am in America. So that was, and that brought tear to my eyes. And on the same day, I just we sat there in a bar, and then I called my mother. It was 12 o'clock in the night, or 1 o'clock in the morning. However, it was 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening over here in Europe. And I called my mother and I said, "Mama, your little boy has made it. I am in the US." That was funny. I can tell you, it just was funny. So yes, America is still number one on our priority list, on my personal list even more than number one.
Yeah.
Even higher.
Have you toured? I know you toured to Europe a lot, but have you toured like anywhere in Asia or South America or anything over the years?
Not South America was just Mexico.
Okay.
We just did Mexico, but Asia, always when we had the tour plans, when everything was ready, there was something bad going on. Once it was with the Fukushima thing with the tsunami.
Oh, yeah.
That was just 2 weeks before we had to enter. We should have entered the plane to play several shows. Still on the list. Still on the list. Maybe number 2, number 3, whatever.
Right.
So there's still things to do. There's still things to do. Which is bizarre because in Europe we can go wherever we want. So in Europe, every country, no problem.
Yeah.
So but. And the funny thing is really that especially from South America, from the US, and also from Japan, for example, we do receive, I have no idea, hundreds of thousands of emails and messages, from people sending their waiting for years. And we do have promoters asking us to come over. And but sometimes I can't tell you why it's not happening. Sometimes I have no idea. I have to ask.
How much do you keep up on like what's going on in the metal world at large? Like, do you listen to a lot of other bands, or do you? Every time I talk to bands, it seems like everyone's got so much going on in their own, career that they don't really have a lot of time to keep up on things. So I'm just kind of curious what your situation is.
Of course I do. Of course I do listen to a lot of new stuff, but I am also. Into my favorite bands still, of course, always excited when a new Iron Maiden album comes out. This is always something I'm having an eye and an ear on, so it's just like, oh, okay. What is Bruce doing?
Right.
It's one of my biggest influences. I have to take care of how is he sounding today? How he sounds today, so that's okay. But of course, there's I think it's different than what you had in the past, So because in the past, I've been always around in those tape trading scene. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I bought myself a lot of demo tapes, from bands from England and from America, So there were just a few guys in Europe. They had just sold them, and I bought them, for a lot of money. I still have them all in my cellar.
Oh, nice.
But no cassette player anymore, which is stupid. But anyhow, I still have the tapes. And of course, it was more exciting to me because today it's a little bit different. Because today you find something on YouTube, you find something here, you get a message from there. And you do not give them the attention, So I think in the early days, I just bought myself those tapes, and then I sat in front of my cassette tape or cassette player. I sat in front of this thing for hours, just listening to these tapes. But I'm still interested in this stuff, and I'm always happy when people are coming to us and to our shows and they're giving me demo CDs. It's no tapes anymore; it's just CDs or MP3 files, however.
Right.
And I love to listen to that. And from time to time, I find really amazing new bands, And but yeah, to be very honest, of course, I'm a big fan of bands like Soilwork or In Flames and stuff. Whenever they do release a new album, I'm just I'm the first standing in the record store buying the album. Nice. That's always up to me, But I love still buying vinyl, and I love and of course CDs as well. But I think I'm so happy that our new albums are also now available on vinyl, because we had times with Brainstorm, especially the times when we used to be on Metal Blade, when we never ever released an album on vinyl, which was a shame to me. So then when we joined AFM. I think it started with what was it? I think it was Fire Soul. So then the vinyl came up again in a big way, so, and then we started having vinyl again, and now we do re-release many of our own albums, old albums, on vinyl anymore, and that's what I like very much. I love opening, it's the stuff, I do remember times when I bought myself the Power Slave album and stuff. That was amazing, sitting there, listening to the album and watching the cover artwork for hours.
Yeah.
For hours. My parents were so upset, about this, but how can you look at one picture for hours, which is ugly in a way? I told them it has to be ugly. It's a monster. It's Eddie.
That's that's another thing about the Wall of Skulls album cover is like I can't imagine that just being like a CD sized or just on a screen, because it's like I'm really looking forward to getting that on vinyl because it's such an intricate looking piece that I can imagine people have that same effect where they'll just sit there and look at it while they're listening to it.
Yeah. Because there are a lot of details in it. There's a lot of details in it. So Gyula is an amazing guy who is really also taken here and there some hidden things in it, so which is really very interesting to me as well, of course.
Cool. That's cool to hear that you're into the vinyl thing still. Do you still have like a lot of your collection from like the old days?
Yeah. I'm not selling anything like that. I'm selling CDs, if I'm not into music anymore or stuff, so sometimes it's too many.
Yeah.
But the vinyl shit, no, I still have the. That the funny thing is really that when I just have the version the vinyl in my hands, old Judas Priest albums, for example, it brings back some kind of it's kind of a flashback, So you have the vinyl, you look at the cover, and then you have this some sort of a flashback, and you do smell. Whatever it is, I have no idea, but it smells. For a second, it smells like when you were 14, 15 years old, so I have no idea how to express this, but it's not just only the vinyl I do have, it's the feeling I have. It's some kind of my, how do you say, youth I do collect there in a way. That sounds probably a little bizarre to you, but it's true. It's something that I would never ever give away. My wife always asks me that. So why do we not sell it, or do we throw it away or whatever? And I said, what? No way. No.
I totally get that, because it's like even if you get like a reissue, it's not quite the same as if you get
it's not the same.
The original version. Yeah. Like there's something special about that. I agree.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's not the same. It's definitely not the same. It has to be this version. And you know what? I do have, for example, there's I do have vinyls. When I do listen to them, I cannot listen to them. I do have many of them on CD as well, since years now. But if I do really want to listen to, for example, the Peace of Mind album of Iron Maiden, there's on the second song, on Flight of Icarus, there's a scratch in between, and you can hear that for let's say 3-4 spins, whatever, so and if it's not there, I do miss something. It hasn't got to do anything with the song, and it's just on my version. It's only on my version, and I have it on CD in an amazing quality and everything else. But listening to it on vinyl and listening to Flight of Icarus, it's just 4 times, and I love it. I have no idea why. It's so stupid, but I love it.
That is so funny, because there was, I can't remember what album it was now, but there was one I had when I was a kid that it skipped in one place, and to this day, when I hear that song, I expect it to skip in that spot no matter what. It's just like, you get so attached to that, and that
there you go. Exactly.
My last question is one I've been asking everybody, just kind of get everyone's different opinion on this. If you had to pick like your absolute favorite Black Sabbath album of all time, what would it be and why?
Oh God, this is something a lot of people would kill me for probably, but it would be Tire.
Really?
Yeah. I've never been a big Ozzy fan,
Hmm.
to be very honest. And Tire, I know a lot of people might say Headless Cross or so, but to me, Tire has something special. I do. It's probably more or less the same. Like we talked about the vinyl things here. I do remember a lot of good things when I was a young boy. With this Tire album. When I listened to this Tire album, a lot of things happened. So I listened to this album for months, probably for years,
Hmm.
and I love his voice.
Yeah.
I think to me it's an amazing album. Every song, every single song, and yeah. To be very honest, this is the only Black Sabbath album I have as vinyl and as CD.
Wow.
Some others I do have as vinyl or as CD, but this is the one I have as CD and as one as my vinyl. And the vinyl looks like, however, it's totally broken, whatever, so, but you can see, oh, okay, this is an album Andy has listened to a lot, many
Right.
times.
That is one I've had a hard time finding on vinyl. It's actually my favorite of the Tony Martin albums. So it's cool to hear someone actually pick that.
Great album.
We do a show on here where we pick kind of underrated albums and talk about them, try to get people to listen to them, and that's one I actually pick because I feel like it's one of the most overlooked Black Sabbath albums, and that's really cool.
It's, to me, a perfect album. I know I think I'm not the only one, but I think the most of the field would go for many other albums of Black Sabbath. But to me, it was the most important Black Sabbath album. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a bad song on there either. Like you said, cool. All right. Well, I will let you go. Give you some time here, but
Okay.
thanks so much for talking to me today. I appreciate it, and good luck with the album. And I hope you guys can get back out on tour and hopefully make it over here sometime. But either way.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. Everything, it's just really amazing. And would be awesome to meet you in person.
Yeah, it'd be great. If you guys come to Seattle, definitely have to meet up.
That would be awesome. That would be really awesome. Of course. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks so much for your support. And hope to see you soon. Take care of yourself. All the very best.
Stay safe.
Have a great day. Great evening. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take care.